espresso. It's the proper way to start the day. I was chopping it up with Jerry, and I've spoken about Jerry for a number of years. Jerry James out of Michigan, amazing photographer. Jerry and I met on Xbox Live. We're talking the OG Xbox Live. Man, we gamed hard together for years, and we became quite close. It was definitely a brotherhood that was forming there. And then out of the blue, Jerry disappeared. And I continued with my obsessive gaming. And then we had exchanged numbers and we would talk on the phone here and there. He'd been into video, doing a lot of video stuff, doing a lot of photography stuff. And then at some point in 2014, I decided I wanted to dip my toe in photography. Something had clicked in my mind. Oh shit, Jerry does this photography thing. Let me reach out to him. And I purchased my NEX 5T. That was my first camera, my first big camera. Jerry and I had started to have a lot more conversations around photography because when I caught on, he was already, 8-9 years in. He had left gaming and started doing photography. That was his thing. He was never in the house. As I embarked in this journey as a photographer and become really admirer of this craft, this passion, Jerry was always to my right. We would bounce ideas off each other. I would learn so much from him from a technical level, understanding the camera, understanding the exposure triangle, understanding specific nuances that a camera added to your creativity. We would have arguments about camera shit. We would have arguments about which influencer was a jackass and which photography outlet was full of shit. Like, we lived and breathed photography. And I mean, I'm not exaggerating. To this day, I think 2 to 3 times a week is sort of how often we talking, for about an hour or 2 a day. And we really do talk about photography. Like, that's it. We like, that's our thing. And we live our fantasies of gas and I want this lens, or damn, I shouldn't be buying any more lenses. If I have to buy another lens, it means that I'm a shit photographer because I can't get the shot with all these 50,000 lenses that I already own and these 12,000 cameras that I already own. And he'd be like, yes, you're right. And then a week later, I got that 35 though, right? Like, it's this very intimate relationship that's coupled and wrapped around something that I love so much. And I really do cherish this relationship. But Jerry is much more than a brother. He's much more than a friend. He's much more than someone that I share a passion with. He is a mentor. I want to get into this conversation about mentorship and why it's important. Why finding a mentor, seeking a mentor, no matter where you are in your journey, is something that we should always be aspiring towards. And yes, at some point, being a mentor to someone else, right? Like, you see someone struggling, you see someone reaching, grasping to be, you should want to reach out and contribute. And I think it's such a valuable part of our community, one that I don't often hear about. And when I hear about it, it's these high achieving photographers and creatives and artists in the space that mention it as a passing line in their conversation, but they don't emphasize how important it is. But if you pay attention, if you pay close enough attention, you'll start to see that everybody has a mentor. And it's time that we all as a community get on board, both finding a mentor and being a mentor, and we continue to push this artistry forward. Accelerated learning and skill development is one of the pillar points to the benefits of a mentor. First of all, the mountain of finding a camera is such an overwhelming task. And I've done so many videos on this channel, so many AMAs where people ask, what's the right camera? And when someone asks that question, you can quite literally tell where they are, and you feel the excitement, but you feel the empathy for how lost they are in this volume of like consumerism, marketing, and just not knowing. That in itself is a hurdle, right? Trying to explain to someone, let's not look at the tool, let's look at what you're trying to do. Then we can start to say, okay, this is the kind of camera you want to look for. That in itself is a journey. But then like the exposure triangle. Holy shit, the exposure triangle. You can just take any one piece of this. You can take your aperture, you can take your shutter speed, your ISO, and then we can have a year worth of conversation on any one of those. And then any one of those, right, 3 years then applies to what discipline? Are you doing street photography? Are you doing portraiture? Are you doing landscapes, cityscapes? Mind blown. And I think mentorship, it's so important to the acceleration, because this person, this mentor has already been there. And not so much that they've done this before, so they're now validated to tell you, don't do that, do it this way, or you're silly for doing it that way, or no. It's this, they already have this wealth of experience around the craft in a way where they can guide you. And this is one of the things I learned from Snow. Snow is also someone I consider a mentor, just not particularly in the space of photography. Snow has taught me in very intricate ways never to crush a creative's direction. You should never, it's much like raising a kid, right? You should never say you're not doing it the correct way or you're doing it wrong. You see where they are and how they are, and then you understand what they're trying to achieve and you guide them. So instead of saying, oh my God, like why you want to do portraits and you watch some fuckface YouTube video that told you a 51.8 is what you want to do for portraiture. And in that same video, that person says, why buy a 1.8 lens and not shoot at 1.8? Like, I get it. There's a fair amount of discussion to be had there. But now you've got a fucking nose that's in focus and the eyes are not. And if you wanna get into portraiture, the most critical part of your portrait is the eyes. That's the part we connect with as humans. That's the part that needs to be absolutely sharp. It's not that I can't say to you, you might wanna shoot this at maybe an f4 or at probably f2, right? Because at least at 1.8, this is in focus, the nose. But if you open it up just a little, or you close that aperture down just a little, 2.8 can get you from the nose to the eye, and that's what we need. And then I guess most well-seasoned portrait photographers will tell you 5.6 is what you need, because you want the hair, you want the ears in focus. And your that professional look is not bokeh you're after. It's really depth of field, which is why you shoot with a long lens. So 50 will give you that by default, or you might want an 85 or 70 to 210. And like all these things, I could tell you that as a mentor, but that's such a technical way to approach it. Instead, and this was dope about approaching this and lightly guiding someone. Instead, it's your job as a mentor to sort of understand that it's more than the technical settings, right? And the holistic picture is, man, I need to get this person to first understand the tool. So the reason the nose is in focus at 1.8 is because you just started out and you probably didn't have a big budget for a camera that has the crazy eye detect, right? And as long as you understand that your tool has limitations, then you understand the limitations and how to get around it with the technical settings. So if you look at, okay, here's what the professional tools are doing. You spend $2,000 for a camera, it's gonna lock on the eye. So maybe locking on the eye is the point of portraiture. Wow, that's dope. But here I'm locked onto the nose. How do I fix that? You can fix that with a larger aperture, right? So these it's such a different way to walk someone through the same result, but teach them on the way, to guide them, to pull them through their aha moment, right? And this is the benefits of having a mentor. A mentor has not been here and knows camera settings. Camera settings are dynamic. They're contextual. That shit doesn't matter what you see in his YouTube video or her YouTube video. That's not your lighting setup. Stop giving a shit about camera settings. Understand what you're trying to do. And a mentor gets that holistic view, and they can get you to this understanding much quicker and faster than you could on your own. A second pillar of mentorship is really the access to knowledge that you don't know exists, right? And then also like networking opportunities. I think it's such a big deal. Like, I've had so many conversations with Jerry because you guys may know, like, I scale multiple genres of photography. I don't adhere to niching down because I love this shit too much. The wealth of knowledge that Jerry has, that even me, a seasoned photographer with the means to cipher the bullshit out there, like when I'm researching a topic and I come across a certain set of YouTube channels, out the gate I can tell, yeah, I'm out. What you're saying don't make sense, because I have so much to lean back on, right? But even so, I still don't know everything. I can't. And that's a dangerous place to be, to think that you know everything. I can lean on Jerry and be like, yo, man, I was looking at this moon shit the other day, and that shit didn't really make sense what I was reading. He'd be like, nah, it does make sense because here's the reasons. Or he's like, nah, you're right. I think you should try it this way. And then I'll go do it no matter what that discussion was. And then I'll come back and share the results. I'll text him like, yo, peep this. And he'd be like, oh shit, I see what you're saying. I see why you're not happy, right? And then he'll say, all right, well, what about if you try this or you try this? Or I'll present, I think it could be better if I did this or did that. And then we'll be able to bounce ideas off of it. But what's so valuable about his wealth and his networking is he knows so many photographers that span so many different genres and disciplines. There's so many times that he's like, hang on, let me text my boy real quick to find out what the fuck he did. Not that what his people do is correct or incorrect, but it's a baseline to give me more context to help me get to the end result I'm looking for in my own work. That is invaluable as a mentor or someone seeking a mentor. There's access to a whole nother world of how they know things to be from people they know that's already in that world, that's getting the results, that's getting the views and the money and the whatever it is that you're aspiring to be. That's something that cannot be taken lightly. And then the last pillar of mentorship and why I think it's so valuable is personal growth and confidence building. I've been in a hole in my photography for a long time, and let me not say long time, so many times. And I've been able to lean on Jerry to assess my work. I don't have to worry about going out there and submitting my work to somebody's program or all of this other weird shit. It's not weird, right? I'm saying it for effect. However you find help, find it, start. He knows me. He intimately knows my creative vision. He knows my editing style. He knows my composition style. He knows me. So he knows when I'm trying something new. He knows when I'm being lazy and relying on a comfortable zone or safe space. He knows all these things about me. And it works in my favor in very meaningful ways. And let's take the example again about the moonshot. There are times where I present work to Jerry and I'll be like, yo, I'm not fucking feeling this. I just can't put my finger on it. And that can go so many different directions, right? Like he may be like, well, you need to cut that shit out. This shit is dope. I like it. And it's like, you know, coming from him, whenever I hear that, it's high praise, it's high regards. But also he will tell me why he likes it. He will give me a breakdown of why he likes it. But then adversely, there are times when he goes, I'm excited about something, and he goes, I don't like it. And he will give me that context. He'll give me that insight, that perspective as to why it doesn't work. And he already knows, again, he knows my starting point for who I am. And that doesn't always mean I take his direction or I don't take his direction. It's just all of it is wrapped around this overall umbrella of my growth as a photographer. To have someone you trust that knows you to give you feedback, to give you healthy criticism, to push you, to pull you. It's such a valuable thing. Very, very recently, to bring the story all to a climax, I was sitting with Jerry a few weeks back, and I was expressing the frustration in my professional photography. I'm really struggling in the business to kick it off in a meaningful way. And what I mean here is I find that I'm relying too much on Thumbtack, and I'm not pulling business in organically, either through my website or word of mouth. I do have a few repeat clients, but they show up once or twice a year. You know, there's so much I can do as a business that really can get me to the end result. And the problem here is, when talking about business stuff, I'd say 85% of my photography business is business. It's not photography. And Jerry was challenging me, because he was like, word, is the work good? You sure the work is good? Fuck you talking about, Jerry? The work is good. So I sent them a few images from one of my most recent events, and he rocked my world in all of 30 seconds. He cropped the images on his phone and sent it back to me and was like, this looks better to me. Right? So I'm on my phone like, the fuck you mean this looks better to you? Let me call this motherfucker. I was like, hey man, explain. So what he did was, and this is tying all three of these pillars about why mentorship is important. He took me from A to Z. My boy over here, who's been doing event photography in Michigan for years, and he feeds his family from his photography business. This is how his work looks. When I see his work, this is the feeling I get. It's so much more cropped in, so much more intimate. And I'm not getting that feeling from your work. Immediately I saw it. Holy shit. And not only did he rock the foundation of how I think compositionally, he rocked the foundation of, is 85% of your business photography just business? Could this be why you're not getting the clients you want, because your work really just isn't that good? I went back to the drawing board. Given the feedback that he gave me, the next two events I shot with that in mind. I shot more tight, and I shot more purposeful, and I shot with this dual mindset, these two goals with these two events. One, I'm in. I'm all the way in. I am tight. I am uncomfortably tight on my photos, right? And then two, I'll only come out wide when I want to document something. The decor of the room, or perhaps an action that's happening. The cake is coming in and the birthday boy is in the shot, so I can establish that story. But other than that, I'm right in there. I'm in his nose hairs. What's up? Let's see what these looks like. The first event, I got home and I started looking at these photos and I got emotional. I got emotional because Here it was, no matter how far I came in life, you still don't know shit. And the second reason I got emotional is because I value this relationship that I had with Jerry so much, because photography continues to be a safe space for me. It continues to be a place of self-discovery for me. It continues to be a space where I can run and hide, I can run and build, I can run and rebuild, I can invite people into who I am. It's a bridge for me to give people, to show them this is who I am, this is how I do, this is how I love, and to have someone that can contribute to that in such a meaningful way, time and time again. God damn, my man Jerry, love you, bro. Shout out to you. This is why having a mentor is important, and this is why you should all seek mentors. Now, how you find a mentor? Don't be a weirdo. Don't go blowing up people's fucking inbox. Yo, fam, what you doing on Saturday? I don't know, maybe that approach can work for some of you, but contribute. Contribute to the conversation. Go where these people are. And let's be honest, a mentor doesn't have to be someone that you, that has 10 plus years over you. It can be someone that's just the next step ahead of you. And they can articulate how they got there, and you guys can get together and build. This mentorship doesn't always have to be master pupil dynamics. Like, in many ways, Edgar, and here's how much I love these guys that are around me in my network. Edgar is somebody else you also heard me speak about. Edgar had the courage to leave his day job and start his own photography business, or continue his photography business full time. He opened a physical studio right after COVID, or in the middle of COVID, when that shit was ill-advised. He did it. He told the job to fuck off. And here he is. And Edgar leaned on me for so many things, and I was happy to push and pull him and challenge him. And I'm sure Edgar considers me a mentor, but we're now in this space where the courage that he put forth to do what I don't have the courage to do, and I look to him for goals. I am like elated when I pick up the phone to call him to hear how he's navigating these struggles. I now consider Edgar a mentor, and that dynamic shifts from mentee to mentor, and it should shift because we're in so many different directions. You go to the left and learn something, I go to the right and learn something. And if you feel like you want to come to the right, then I can be your mentor. But if I feel like I want to go to the left, then you can be my mentor. These roles are dynamic, but these roles are oh so important. And I implore you to go out and seek mentorship, join a community, ask questions, be approachable, or allow yourself to approach. A lot of the times you'll hear, no, what? Fuck off. I don't got time to mentor you. It's okay. It's okay. Continue. There are people out there that are willing to connect. There are people out there that are willing to help. Thank you so much for your time. The most valuable resource we have in this life, this beautiful life. I don't take it lightly that you've taken a few minutes out of your day to listen to what I have to say. My name is Ramon. I'm out of here. Peace.